Speaking about exercise number 4, here we have a 10% sales tax, and we need to answer the question, will this cause total spending on every good and service to increase? So actually we should remember here our graph about what happens when the tax is imposed in the market. So basically our supply shifts in this case, and our equilibrium our equilibrium, which was here, now there is like new kind of equilibrium, or where price for buyers is higher than the price for sellers. So the answer for the first question is no. There will be no increase in overall spending because the prices for buyers and sellers are adjusted according to the tax burden. So the tax is divided between buyers and sellers. So the first answer is no. So we basically can explain it with the graph. Will all prices rise by 10% as a result of the tax? So the answer is no. As it is explained above, one price always falls and another one moves up in order to survive in the market with a tax burden. So the answer for the second question is no. Is it possible that the burden of the tax be shared equally by all buyers and all sellers of every good and service? Yes. Yes, it is possible in case when the slope of the demand curve will be equal to negative slope of our supply curve. So when the slope of D is equal to negative slope of supply curve. Let's consider the fifth task from this seminar. So, if the government places a 1,000 tax on luxury cars, will the price paid by customers rise by more than 1,000, less than 1,000, or exactly 1,000? So if we draw a graph representing what will happen in this situation, it is very similar to the case which we solved in the first task when the tax was introduced. So in this case we had our first equilibrium, and after the tax was introduced, the supply curve shifted to the left and there was a new equilibrium, and the tax actually was divided between the consumer and the supplier. So the answer is less than 1,000. Now let's consider exercise number 6. Here we are given a demand curve and a supply curve and their equations. And firstly, we need to find the market equilibrium price and quantity. So the first step is to write down our functions from P. And the next step we need to do is to receive the function from Q. So we take 3q to the left side of the equation and divide all the equation by 3, and we receive our function, our demand function. The same we can do with our supply function. We take 2q to the left and divide all the equation by 2 and receive that our supply function will be equal to this one. And as we need to find the equilibrium, we remember that we have quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded. So we rewrite it in terms of P. And after solving this linear equation, we receive that price equilibrium is equal to 30. To receive quantity equilibrium, we need to put the price in any of these equations. So we can put it in the first one, for example, and we get that quantity equilibrium is equal to 20 minus our price equilibrium 30 divided by 3. So 20 minus 10 will be equal to 10. So it is the answer for the first question. So the second question is about a price ceiling of $15, and we need to determine what situation will be in the market in this case and graph and make a graph. So our price ceiling is equal to 15. So it is now our price and we need to insert it into our functions. So firstly, let's see how many units will be bought in the market if the price is equal to 15. So 20 minus 1 over 3 multiplied by 15 will be equal to 15. So 15 units will be bought in the market. So will be like demanded in the market. And speaking about our sellers, we can see that they are able to offer only 2.5 units. So here is the graph. Here is our supply function and demand function. So our price ceiling, the line is which is equal to 15, and we see that we have a shortage in the market because our demand exceeds the supply, and it is so how to find what will be the shortage in the market. So we need to subtract 2.5 from 15 and receive 12.5 as a shortage. So let's go to the next part. So what price floor would yield a surplus of 15 units? So we need to find the price floor. So first of all, we have a surplus of 15 units. This means that the difference between quantity supplied and quantity demanded is equal to 15. So we rewrite it in terms of our prices. So we use functions of supply and demand in this case. And after solving this equation, we get that the price should be equal to 45. So very easy task. So the next is about that the target price is equal to $42. And we need to find what will be the cost of this program for the government and draw a graph. So 42 is our target price, so P target, and we need to insert this price into our demand function firstly. So 20 minus target price divided by 3 is equal to quantity demanded. So we put, instead of target price, 42, and receive that quantity demanded will be equal to 6. And the same we do with the supply function. We put our target price into the supply function and receive that our quantity supplied will be equal to 16. So if we look at the graph, we can see that here is our target price. It's a line and it intersects with the our supply and demand functions, and so our quantity supplied is 16, so it's our supply, and quantity demanded is equal to 6. And to compute what is like the excess supply, because supply is greater than demand, so quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded, and the difference between these two numbers is equal to 10. So now let's compute the cost for the government. So we know that government needs to buy 10 units because it is the excess supply from the market, and our price is 42 because it's our target price, and we multiply these two numbers and get 420 as a government cost. And on the graph you can see this area which is surplus in the market, like excess supply, and also it is government cost because it needs to buy it from the market. Now let's talk about task 6.5. We see here that government offers a $10 subsidy on every unit sold, and we need to graph the new equilibrium and find equilibrium quantity, price, and costs of the government. So our subsidy is equal to 10, and this means that now price for suppliers is price for buyers plus 10, because they receive extra $10 for every unit sold. So, but still we have our equation that quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded, and we need to put our equation for price for suppliers instead of price for suppliers. So we basically put it here and receive the equation with only one variable, which is price for buyers, and after some computations we receive that the price for buyers is equal to 24. So how can we get price for sellers? So we just need to look at the formula here. It is equal to price for buyers plus 10, so we just add 10 and receive 32. And to receive the quantity, here you should be attentive and use the appropriate numbers, because if you want to receive quantity from this equation of quantity demanded, you need to use the price for buyers in this case. And if you want to receive the quantity from equation for suppliers, you need to put here price for suppliers. So because they are different in this case. So I decided to obtain the quantity from the first equation. So we write 20 minus 24 divided by 3, and it is equal to 12. It is our quantity which will be sold in the market. So now let's talk about government costs. So as our quantity is equal to 12, and the difference between these two prices is equal to 10, we need to multiply these numbers and get government costs. And here is the graph of what will be happening in the market. So basically, our supply function shifts to the right because of the subsidy, and you see that our new equilibrium, so this point is our first initial equilibrium, and our new equilibrium is where the price is equal to 24. And basically this difference between these two lines is the effect of our subsidy, because here suppliers receive the price 34 because the government pays them this extra $10. So that's it for this part. And now let's talk about 6.6. Our target price is $27, and we need to find the amount of subsidy in this case. So our target price is equal to 27. This means price for buyers is equal to 27. And we can write an equation about price for sellers, because the government pays them a subsidy. So the price will be equal to price for buyers plus subsidy, which is equal to X. And as usual, we have that quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded. And instead of price for suppliers, we will use this equation to receive the equation with only one variable, which is x, our subsidy. And in this case, x is equal to 5, just we need to compute it. So that's it for the 6th task. Let's discuss the task number 7. We have here our functions of demand and supply. Firstly, we need to solve algebraically to find equilibrium P and Q. So quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. 66 minus 3P is equal to minus 4 plus 2P. 70 is equal to 5P. And price equilibrium is equal to 14. And quantity equilibrium is equal to 66 minus 3 multiplied by P and is equal to 24. Now let's discuss 7.2. How would a per unit sales tax T affect this equilibrium, and comment on how the tax is shared between producers and consumers. So how it will affect. So our equilibrium would be moved downwards on the q-axis, and price for suppliers will decrease and price for buyers will increase. And speaking about how the tax is shared between suppliers and buyers, and it is shared in the proportion which can be obtained from elasticity. So the proportion is this one, elasticity of the demand function by price to the elasticity of supply function also by price. And here we are given per unit tax, and it is equal to 5. So T is equal to 5. So let's just find the elasticity. Our first elasticity is equal to the derivative of the function of the demand taken by P multiplied by price divided by quantity. So quantity demanded is equal to 66 minus 3P. If we take the derivative from this function, we will receive the coefficient before P. It is equal to minus 3. But because we have a module here, we will write only 3. And then we need to multiply by the price and divide by the quantity. So our price is equal to 14 from the previous case, and our quantity is equal to 24. And finally, our elasticity will be 1.75. And The same we can do with the supply function. So in this case, we also need to find the derivative from our supply function and multiply it by p and divide by q. So our supply function is 2p minus 4, and the derivative from this function is 2, and our price is equal to 14, and quantity is also is equal to 24, and the elasticity is 1.16. So if we divide these coefficients, these elasticities, we will receive approximately 1.5, which is equal to 3 divided by 2, and this is ratio 3 and 2. So this means that our tax, which is equal to 5, will be divided into 5 parts, and 3 parts will go to and this means that our price for suppliers will be equal to our equilibrium price minus 3, and because of that, and this means that our price for suppliers will be equal to our equilibrium price minus 3, which is equal to 11, and our price for buyers will be increased by 2 and will be equal to 16, and the quantity in this case will be equal to 18. You can obtain this quantity by putting price for suppliers into this equation or price for buyers into this one. Now let's look at the pre-tax and post-tax graphs equilibrium. So in the first case, our equilibrium price is equal to 14, and our equilibrium quantity is equal to 24. But when the tax is introduced, the price for buyers rises and becomes 16, and price for suppliers becomes 11, and the difference between these two prices is 5, and it is exactly our tax. So basically you can see everything from the graph. That's it. I hope it was useful. Have a good day.